but the short-term consequence is that the Straits of Hormuz are effectively closed, right? And so we want to talk about X factors in war and like unknown unknowns, right? I don't know if the Straits of Hormuz are closed because it's too dangerous to transit or because Lloyd's of London just simply won't insure the shippers to go through.
I think the latter is really what has been talked about a lot in the past week.
We're going to have to, if it's true that the Iranians have actually not physically shut the straits, bear in mind we're in planting season in the Northern Hemisphere right now, right? And so not just diesel, but also fertilizer feedstocks are going to be needed in large quantities. Every week that goes by when there's a shortage there is going to have ripple effects for global food prices. So if it is the case that the Iranians have not successfully closed the Straits of Hormuz, and our insurance industry just won't allow the ships to go through, we've got to get them moving again for the whole world, because people, especially in poorer countries, people are going to go hungry. I mean, people are going to starve if we don't get this moving again and right quick. So it's enormously consequential, I think. Now, if there's a blitz of drones in the strait and you just can't get through, that's one thing. I just simply don't know. I mean, that's really, for me, that's the fog of war here. That's the thing that I'm keeping an eye on, is like, are the Straits of Hormuz actually closed? And for those who aren't familiar with the Straits of Hormuz, it's the choke point between the Emirates and Iran, that 20% of the world's oil goes through. But when you talk about like non-locally traded, like non-regional oil that travels really far, it's more like 40% of the traded, long-distance traded oil in the world goes through those straits. And it's always been the reason why no one's attacked Iran up until this point, is because it's always been believed that Iran could close the straits. So this goes back to the very beginning of our call, Jeff, right? Which is, did the Pentagon plan for this? Like, why is the oil, not moving? Is this a temporary blip? If it goes on for weeks and weeks and weeks, there could be some serious panic. It's the big gamble. Really, it's more consequential now what happened in the Strait of Hormuz, because it's not just Iranian oil that's going through there. It's all the Gulf oil, or most of the Gulf oil, Saudi, Kuwaiti, Emirates. So everything hinges on the straits now.
Right. And that's an important point, that it's not just, we talked before about China, and we talked about where the oil is going, where the oil is coming from, and the impact there is just as important.
Yeah, that's right. And in the case of Venezuela, it seems like, it does start to seem like Venezuela was the US, without much concern for the Europeans, I do have to say, was sort of preparing to ensure US oil supply. Now, they can't control the price. The price is somewhat global, but they can at least make sure that there's supply here in North America. And they definitely claimed, I don't know if this has actually happened, but when they took out Maduro and allowed his lieutenant essentially to take over, they redirected all that oil from China to us. And that's heavy sour crude. There's a lot of heavy sour crude in there that's particularly good for diesel, particularly good for jet fuel and agriculture. So yeah, was that a preparation for this operation so that the US wouldn't be as impacted? Certainly Europeans, the Qataris are not exporting LNG now. Gas prices in Europe are just probably spiraling right now. It's still technically winter over there. So we've got to get the straits open. And then beyond that, it's all fog of war stuff. I have no idea where this Iranian regime is going to end up and land.